All right, hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our demo. Today we're talking about the FamilySearch Digital Library, how to find and contribute your family's history books and more. So I am Michelle Barber. I work for FamilySearch on our user experience team. We get to design the website that you all see and the experiences you get to interact with. And one of the things I've got to work on is this digital library that we're going to be talking about today. And I'm joined with Catherine Aftoff Hall, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself and about the digital library.
Welcome. So glad that you could join us today. I'm the Digital Processing and Publishing Manager. I get to work with this awesome team that helps get images online so that you're able to use these different resources on the digital library itself. There are at least 2 other managers that help out with this process of the beginning of getting a book to the very end of making it digital and up online for you to use. So it's quite the project that we have going here, and we love the people that we get to associate and work with. So a little bit about the digital library itself. We're quite proud to say that just this next year in 2021, we will be celebrating a milestone. The milestone being over 500,000 books on the site itself. Pretty fantastic. In this collection, you're going to see things such as genealogy books, family histories, maps, yearbooks, and there's much more that you're going to find inside of this collection.
Awesome. So Catherine, can you kind of walk us through how they find the digital library on FamilySearch and how they can use it?
Yes, I'd love to. So here is FamilySearch.org. You can start by going to that home screen, and then if you go up to search, there's a drop-down menu that will appear. Go to books, and that will bring you here to the FamilySearch Digital Library. You can also go directly to this site by doing just FamilySearch.org/library/books. Great thing to bookmark if you want to heavily start using this resource. I'm just going to highlight a little bit on this home page here. You will see a bunch of different buildings. These are other institutions that help us to grow our collection. So the way that our project works is we go out and we make partnerships with other libraries, genealogical societies, historical societies that have large book collections. These awesome partners allow us to send volunteers into their establishments. We then scan their public domain content. Those images are sent to my team, and then we do some processing and publishing of the content and put it onto our site. So this is a shared collection. How neat is it to go to one tool and be able to find, you see how many different libraries there are that have contributed to this? We currently have about 14 scan sites. In 2021, we're anticipating a potential of 21 different scan sites, not just here in the US, but around the country.
That's awesome. So these are all libraries that have allowed us to utilize their content, but they can all be searched for within FamilySearch's digital library. So it's like one library holding lots and lots of different libraries together.
Exactly. And not just libraries, we got those genealogy societies and historical societies in there as well that we know have very rich collections of genealogical value.
Fantastic. All right, do you want to give us an idea how to start searching and utilizing this library?
Sure. So Michelle and I have talked a little bit, and she was introducing me to a little bit about her family and who might be on this digital library. And she has an aunt. She's going to be telling us a little bit more about the aunt later, but there's a book about her. And Michelle, she knew that this existed. And so I had the exact title. Well, that makes it very easy to find content in the digital library when you have the exact title. For such a search, you're going to go ahead and put the title itself in quotation marks, and it will then bring you directly to the book. That's a pretty basic search. Well, say Michelle, say you weren't sure exactly what the title was. You knew that your family had put together a book about your aunt, but you weren't sure the title. You have her name, but that is it. Well, use that, use what you have, use the quotation marks and put her full name in and see what you get. Obviously, your search results are going to be a little higher when you're just doing a given name and a surname in a search.
Okay.
So in this example, you have about 42 results or so.
So that would search off of everything, book titles, everything within the book. It's going to search for that name everywhere. Is that correct?
Yes. So one of the reasons that you would want to come to use books, and what makes the books a little bit different than just historical records, is our content, the majority of it is going to have been typed text. And because it is that, we are able to use software that allows it to become all word searchable, that optical character recognition software. So when individuals are putting in terms, search terms, it's not just searching a title, but it is searching the entire content of the book itself. Great value. One of the reasons that you'd want to be using this site to find content. So I get in and I notice that there's 42 results. There's different ways that I can see these books. I can go and I can do this list format, or I can click and change it so that I'm seeing more of a thumbnail view. I can print, and when you do the print, you always have that option of changing it to a PDF, so you can save a digital copy of the list to your computer to refer back to later. And then there's just the relevant search, and then also if you wanted to include more results on a page, you have those options to change your search to. Let's look over here though. You see how over on this side of the screen you have access levels. Really need to point this out to all of you. So access levels, I mean the type of permission that you're going to have. Are you going to be able to view this book? And you might be like, oh, it's on this, I should be able to view the book, right? Well, for public content, sure, you will get to view. Full permission, yes, you will. Limited permission, it's just that there's limited permissions depending on where you are. Protected, we do scanning of content at the Family History Library itself, and some of the content that we're scanning, we're doing it for preservation. Some of that material is copyrighted. Legally, we cannot allow access to that content, but something that we can do that is absolutely fantastic is by digitizing it, we're allowed to allow you to see snippets. So let's look here. You notice I'm looking at access levels. So all of these other ones I would be able to get into. If I click on full text, you see how there's this drop down that appears? It at least is telling me that there is a Gloria Richards that is in this content that then I could then reach out to an institution that might have this work and make a request for either a copy of that page or see if they will lend me that book. So there's still value of using that protected content, even though you can't see
Gives you
the entire thing.
Yeah, you get a little preview of what's in there. So you know it's probably what you're looking for, then you're willing to reach out and try and get the book or whatever artifact you're looking at.
Exactly. Great summary. So one of the other ways, so on this, we know what the title of the book is. We know that here is Gloria Ann Richards right here. This is the book that we would be looking for. The list wasn't too long. Okay, so we're gonna do one more example with doing searches. And so say, Michelle, you know you have your aunt's name, and you know also that she was born in Bountiful. That was the hospital that she was born in. You could find that information just from your family tree. So I could go in and I can use an operator. So in quotations, put her name, then in capital letters do and then put in quotations bountiful. And then it will only bring up books that have her name and the term bountiful in the book. And then you can narrow that way. On that previous search, you will have seen a lot of yearbook results, and it was for places like Ohio and Missouri. And never lived there. So you could also, instead of doing an and, you could put a not, and then after the not, you put in the phrase that you do not want to appear. So it would be something like Gloria Richards, not Missouri. So then it won't bring anything up that has Missouri then with it.
Awesome. So you're talking about these operators that you use to search with. Do you have any more details about what those are or how people can use them?
Yes. So here is the screen that has some of the other examples of operators. You can use and, or, not. Showed you the example of the or the and the not, and then how you would use quotation marks. You have the asterisk, and then the question mark and parentheses. So the difference in using these for the or, it would be something like Gloria Richards or Gloria and Richards, because you knew her middle name and maybe some of the books might have it listed as that. It's the idea of either word can be present. And for the asterisk, that you would enter in if you want to have more flexibility with multiple characters in a word. So if in my name, the last name, it's Althoff, there's a lot of different spellings towards the end of it. I could do ALTHO and then put asterisk at the end, and then it should bring up anything where it has one F or two Fs or PH as the ending, but it's going to give you some variances in spelling for that word. The question mark, you would do that for just if you want to replace one character, using an example of Anderson. That surname can be spelled with an O-N or an E-N, so you'd put the question mark in the place of that vowel, and it will bring up either spelling. And then the intent for the parentheses is anytime you're combining multiple operators is when you're going to use that. And for more examples of these, there is a wiki page that has been created that gives you these definitions along with examples that you can find on our digital library book scanning booth. That's part of the expo hall, the FamilySearch Expo Hall. We'll talk more about that a little bit later.
Awesome. So these operators are kind of like tools in your toolbox for doing more advanced searches. They're just ways that we can get a better result of what we're looking for, or even maybe sometimes a more broad result that gives us lots of options for finding exactly what we're looking for.
Great description. Yes, Michelle.
Awesome. I've got to start using these.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna unshare that, and I know you have some highlights to share with this book too.
Yes. Awesome. So what I wanted to do was just share with our audience watching this demo is actually how to utilize once you find your search. So Catherine did a good job showing, especially with this example, how to get straight to the search you're looking for, or a search that might have multiple results of information of your ancestor you're looking for. And I wanted to show what you do once you find something. So kind of a fun little backstory about this is that this book of remembrance of my aunt was written a couple years ago by my other aunt, her older sister, and she gave us all a printed copy of the book. And it was awesome, and it was a really nice treasure that we had, but I think a lot of us just took it and put it on our shelves like we do. And so a couple of years ago at RootsTech, I went in person to the FamilySearch scanning booth, which I know is very different this year. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I took this book to the scanning booth, handed it over, and within a couple hours, they had it completely scanned. and sent it back to me. I, of course, got full permission from my aunt, who is still alive, who was the author of the book, to put it on there and make it public on FamilySearch. And they got the book back to me, and also a link to where it was found on FamilySearch. And that's what we're looking at right now, which was a really fun thing. But one part I didn't really anticipate was how much the readership of this book went up once we had it scanned in digital form. Because like I said, a lot of our families had it sitting on our shelf, but once I found it online and I was able to come and kind of interact with it, see it online, I did probably what a lot of people will do, and I would highly recommend, is that I took this link and I added it as a source on Gloria Ann Richards' page on FamilySearch, on Family Tree. I added it as a source, and so a lot of my family was notified that it was attached. I also emailed it out to a lot of our family, said, hey, look what I got done. This awesome book is now scanned and you can see it online. And many of my cousins went and started reading about our aunt who passed away many years before a lot of us were born, and we were able to feel this connection to her that we maybe wouldn't have had or really taken the opportunity to read otherwise. So it's been really fun. So what I want to do is just kind of show. Oh, go ahead, Catherine.
Michelle, I just love that you have that personal story with the digital library, because it's one more reason why people might want to come and use these books. It has made a person become more than a name, date, and place. You have pictures and you have stories. Great highlight.
And it's so fun because it's a really kind of fun tool to interact with, that it makes me feel like I'm still just reading the book. You know, there's ways you can come, you kind of flip through it just like you would the actual book, which is fun. Hopefully you can see those pages turning. You can have them just facing pages like we've done, you might have seen before, then you can scroll it. And there's several different ways to just kind of take the time to interact with the book once you find it. I mean, obviously finding it is kind of the hard part. And once you get there, it becomes a lot easier. And so one of the things I wanted to show, and I also want to say that I've gotten to know this tool quite a bit, and we're really excited, Catherine and I, because we're doing a refresh of it, and we're going to keep all of these great features and even a few more to come. So keep checking back. But one thing I really like is once you find the page that you want to be on, after you've scrolled through, you found maybe some stories that you wanted to highlight. You have this page that gives you a little bit of information about the book itself. But what I really think is awesome is they have a few different features down here in the toolbar that are really powerful once you see them. You can print and download the files. Obviously, that depends on the permissions, like Catherine was talking about. The permissions for this are a little different because it was donated to FamilySearch. And so FamilySearch users can come and print and download the files. That's also been useful in our family. You can come and you can search. What I want to show you is that you can search, just like Catherine showed how to search all of the digital library to get to your content. You can search within the book itself, which is so nice and something you can't do on a physically printed book. You can come and search if there's a specific story or a specific time frame, or think if you're in a yearbook, you don't want to scroll through every single page. You want to just search for the people you're looking for. So one thing I'm going to search for, this aunt, they grew up on a dairy farm, and she had lots of funny stories about the dairy that she worked on. So I'd come in, I'd see, okay, these are all the instances of dairy within the book itself. I'm going to choose one, and it'll take me straight to that story, talking about how she's a very independent young lady and she worked on the dairy farm. And then this other tip that's so fun, you can come down and you press this T icon down at the bottom, and it's going to use this technology that Catherine talked about, where it actually reads all of the text on this page and it types it out over here, so that I can come in and I can say, hey, I found that really awesome story about Gloria, and I wanted to, maybe it's her birthday, and I want to highlight a story about her birthday. I don't have to, take a screenshot or retype it all out. I can just come in and I can select the text right here. I can copy it right to the part I want to be at. I take this text, I can copy it. I could put it in an email. I could add it to another history that I'm working on. I could add it as a memory on FamilySearch with that text, but it just takes a lot of that effort out of it that you couldn't do with a regular book that you're holding in your hand. So that is one feature I love. You can, if they're kind of hard to read, you can kind of change and reverse the lighting. So you can make it a little bit easier to read. You can adjust the settings, brightness and contrast. If it's, sometimes there's pictures or things that are hard to see, you can rotate it. If for some reason the scanning worked not quite as well, you can go into like an optimized zoom that makes it so you can get right in there. Obviously that would help more for pictures. And then this is kind of fun if you want to zoom really close in, think on a picture, or if you're on maybe like a yearbook picture that's so wide and you want to really zoom in and find those faces that you're looking for. This kind of gives you a navigation view of where you're at on the whole page. You can zoom in and out and really just get very familiar with the book itself. And one thing that I like to point out, sorry, that's kind of itchy. One thing I like to point out is that a lot of books like this book have page numbers, which are really helpful. So the author made sure that they were numbered so I can remember the page, but that number most of the time does not match up with the actual pages that FamilySearch recognizes, because there's usually a cover page, maybe the back of the cover page or a blank page in between, and then a title page. And so there's usually doesn't quite match up. And so I think it's really helpful to say, hey, I'm going to source this and I'm going to tell you to come look at page 7 of 77. And keep in mind that that's actually going to be page 4 of the book. And so
what you're saying is that 4, that's the page number in the book. And then down below in the right-hand corner, that's more of the image count. So the digital images then.
Exactly. So this is image number 7, which correlates to page number 4 of the book. And so that's really helpful as I've sourced some of these books, and especially some of the longer books that you might find, just to make sure people keep in mind how to get exactly where you're looking for. And some of the new features we're going to be releasing will make that even a little bit easier. And then I'm not sure if Catherine showed, but on the very first result page, when you come back in there, maybe we won't be able to get to it, but there's also the option.
I'm going to highlight the sharing.
Yes, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Let me escape. Hold on. All right. Screen should be up. If you look right under the book itself, you'll see a option besides the view all pages. There's an option to share. And so Michelle was mentioning that she was able to share content with many family members. One of the ways that she could do it was to choose one of these social media routes, even if you wanted to just send a copy via email, but it will copy the link and then you'll be able to share it with others. A great resource, great way to share the content.
Awesome. And like I said, that's exactly how this book in our family got a lot of extra readership, is just by sharing. It was actually an email that started, and then obviously attaching it as a source helped a ton. So Catherine, probably my last question would be, this year is a little unique and no one is going to be able to do what I did a couple of years ago and walk physically into the RootsTech booth and hand them a book and ask for it to be scanned and added to FamilySearch. So what can they do in that case?
So what you're going to want to do, and you're going to want to do this not just to be able to donate content, but just to even learn more about this resource, is to visit us in the FamilySearch expo hall, and our booth specifically is the Digital Library book scanning booth. Come there, and we have other additional classes that go more in depth with searching. You'll learn how to donate content this year. We have a new option of donating digital content instead of just having a physical book and having to bring it or mail it somewhere. You can donate the images themselves, but it will walk you through the steps on how to do all of these things. Plus, you'll get to hear some inspirational experiences of patrons who have taken the time to use this site and have had some pretty awesome experiences with the content that they have found. So come visit us at the booth.
Awesome. So just go to the expo hall and look for the book scanning booth. Is that the right one?
FamilySearch Digital Library book scanning booth.
Excellent. Want to make sure we knew exactly what to search for. But excellent. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you to everybody who joined on. Anything last you want to say?
Thank you so much, Michelle, for this opportunity that we had to do this together. And we're looking forward to seeing so many patrons visiting us during RootsTech this year.
Yes, go find your family's books. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care.